Hello everyone, and welcome to my 320 subscriber special. When I'm recording this, I have 326, I think, subscribers. By the time this comes out, I'll probably have 3,026 subscribers. Well, I've been not wasting more time by rambling at the start. Enjoy the video. The idea that mammals lived as the oppressive foot of reptiles in the Paleocene and Eocene is a myth. As the first panodonts, a group of large predatory mammals, evolved 65 million years ago, 16 million years before this episode's setting. However, where this episode is set, in Europe, great giant birds, including Gastornis as well as ratites, were believed to have been the largest animals. The Maastrichtian mammal in the opening scene that uses the leptictidian model is Gypsonyctops, a basal leptictidian, the order the leptictidium belongs to. Propaleotherium was once thought to be a direct ancestor to modern horses, but it is more recently reconstructed as a basal member of the horse superfamily. Gastornis was a herbivore that ate nuts and fruits in reality, rather than a carnivore. Other than its hooked beak, given to make it look more carnivorous, it is completely accurate in the series. A damselfly briefly appears in this episode. There are two damselflies known from the Mesopit where this episode is set, Petrolestes and Pseudostenolestes. Godinosha was a basal primate and would have been more lemur-like, rather than the monkey-like way it is depicted in the series. It was correctly shown as nocturnal, which it most likely was in reality. Eurotomandua is shown, live acted by a modern Tarantula, which is a species of anteater. But Eurotomandua was actually an ancestor of pangolins, although it was very similar to an anteater and is believed to have not had armor. Eurotomandua also lived around 2 million years after the episode's setting. Ambulocetus lived in Pakistan, not Germany, where the episode is set, but it is stated that it has migrated from its home in the episode. Otters were used as a reference for the Ambulocetus' movement. There is a disconnect between the CGI and practical models of the Ambulocetus, with the CGI model having a much more pointed snout, whereas practical one having a much more rounded, almost wolf-like one. The crocodilian, live acted by a Siamese crocodile, is identified as Kentosuchus, but this genus is not known from the Mesopit. It is known from France and Britain, as well as possibly Ukraine, from the time the episode is set, so it is possible that this genus could have been present at the setting of this episode. The giant ants are known as Titanomyrma and are believed to have evolved shortly after the episode's setting. Titanomyrma is the only giant terrestrial arthropod from the Walking Dead series that was not featured in the Carboniferous. The episode features a cricket. There are no crickets known from the Mesopit. This episode features a frog that is identified on the Walking with Wiki as a tree frog. Though the European tree frogs, belonging to the family Hylidae, date back to the late Cretaceous, there are no hylids known from the Mesopit. A gecko features in this episode. There is an indeterminate gecko known from the Mesopit. This creature is not identified in any way in the episode, but it was identified as a creodont in external media. It reuses the bear dog model from the episode Land of Giants. It is often stated to be Lesmesodon, but this genus looks nothing like the creature in the series. Hello everybody, welcome to my 340, that's the one, 340 subscriber special. Today I'll be breaking down the second episode of Walking with Beasts, Whale Killer. This episode is set in the late Eocene, 36 million years ago, in the Valley of the Whales. Wadi al-Hitan? I probably screwed that up a bunch. Which is approximately 40 million years ago. The Jebel Qurtani formation, which is about 30.2 to 29.5 million years ago, a fictional formation in Pakistan. Most of this episode was filmed in Florida. The environments of the formations featured in this episode are accurate to what we believe they were like in reality. It is also set around the Grand Kupor, or Eocene-Oligocene extinction, which involved global disruptions of weather systems due to Antarctica freezing for the first time. Basilosaurus was a large carnivorous archaeocete from the Eocene of the US, Egypt, Western Sahara, Morocco, Jordan, Tunisia, Pakistan, and Peru. Basilosaurus is actually believed to have not lived in the open ocean, but rather on the continental shelf. Basilosaurus lived from 41.3 to 33.9 million years ago, meaning it was alive at the right time and in the right place to appear in this episode. This shark is Physogaleus, a close relative of the tiger shark that lived 56 to 15.9 million years ago, meaning was alive at the setting of this episode. The Brontotheres in this episode are Embolotherium, which lived approximately 41 to 34 million years ago, meaning it was alive at the time this episode is set. But Embolotherium is known from Mongolia and Inner Mongolia, not Pakistan. This turtle is Papyrus, a close relative of Chelonidae, the family of most modern sea turtles, and it is known from the Eocene, around 50 million years ago, of the USA, UK, Belgium, Denmark, and Uzbekistan, meaning it lived around the right place, but approximately 14 million years too early. Papyrus had very large eyes, which is not represented in the episode due to the turtle being live acted. Edrysarchus was a large Satanchodontomorphan ungulate from the mid-Eocene of China. Edrysarchus is believed to have lived closer to 40 million years ago than 36 million years ago. Edrysarchus is stated to have been related to sheep and goats, as it was believed to have been a Mesonychid, a family of basal artiodactyls, even-toed ungulates, when this was released, when it was in reality a relative of hippos, cetaceans, and entelodonts. This means it most likely resembled a hippo rather than a wolf. Mongolonyx would have been a better candidate for this role, as it lived in the correct place and time, mid-Eocene to Oligocene of China. Vultures appear in this scene. The only thing it could be that is known from fossils is an indeterminate accipiterid, the family containing old world vultures, from the Urgillan-Dozo formation, from which Embolotherium is also known. Apitium is a parapithecid simian known from the early Oligocene, 30 to 28 million years ago, of Egypt, meaning it lived 6 million years before the episode's setting. Merotherium is a basal proboscidean that lived in the late Eocene, 37 to 35 million years ago, of Egypt and Algeria, meaning it lived in the right place and time and is portrayed completely accurately. The episode features fiddler crabs. Fiddler crabs are not known to have evolved until the early Miocene, multiple million years after this episode's setting. Dorodon was a basilosauride from the Eocene, 40.4 to 33.9 million years ago, of Egypt, Pakistan, the US, Aotearoa, and Western Sahara, meaning it lived in the right place and time to appear in the episode. Dorodon is believed to have not been social. Its socialness in the episode, though, can be explained by them meeting up to raise and care for the juveniles. Hello everybody and welcome to my 360 subscriber special, a breakdown of my least favourite episode of Walking with Beasts, Land of Giants. This episode is set in the Oligocene, about 25 million years ago, of Mongolia, potentially in the Sabre Tooth Formation, although that was only deposited between around 33.4 and 31 million years ago, at least 6 million years before the episode setting. The Sabre Tooth Formation is believed to have been a desert, as shown in the episode, which was filmed in Mexico and Arizona. Intricatheres, or Intricatheriids, now Paraceratheres or Paraceratheriids, are any members of Intricatheriidae, or now known as Paraceratheriidae, which is a group of humongous, hornless rhinoceroids. The one in this episode is supposed to be Intricatherium, now Paraceratherium, which was from the Oligocene, 34 to 23 million years ago, of much of Eurasia, meaning it lived in the right place at the time. In the episode, Intricatherium / Paraceratherium is referred to as the largest landed mammal ever, but in fact the Asian straight-tusked elephant, Paleoloxodon rhematicus, is larger. Paraceratherium is believed to be an inspiration for the AT-ATs, Star Wars, and Paraceratherium is often nowadays portrayed with a tapir-like trunk, not a rhinoceros-like lip, as is shown in this episode. Hyaenodon was a pan-carnivoran in the Hyaenodontidae family from the Eocene to Miocene, 42 to 16.9 million years ago, of Eurasia and North America. There are 5 species of Hyaenodon known from the Sabre Tooth Formation, including H. gigas, the largest, which this one is almost definitely supposed to be. Hyaenodon is said to have bone-crushing teeth. This is unlikely, and it seems that they were somehow confused the facts with that of modern hyenas, which shares their name with Hyaenodon despite them not being particularly closely related. There are, however, some evidence of Hyaenodonts having crushed bones found in coprolites in the USA. It should have a longer snout, and it's unlikely that the saber tooth teeth should have known. Its size is also exaggerated, with the episode stating it as being rhinoceros size, when it was much closer in size to that of a bear. This creature in the episode is only identified as a Calicotherium, which is any member of Calicotheriidae, but it is often believed by fans and external materials to be Calicotherium itself. But Calicotherium lived around 12 million years ago, not 25 million years ago. Schizotherium is a Calicotherium which lived around the right time in Mongolia, where the episode is set, but it would have walked on its palms rather than being a knuckle walker like the creature in the episode. Bear dog is another name for amphicyonids, or members of Amphicyonidae, a family of basal caniformians. The one in this episode is externally identified as Cynodictis, an amphicynionine from the Eocene to Oligocene, about 37 to 29 million years ago, of Eurasia, meaning it lived at the right place, but 4 million years too early. It is shown as digitigrade, like dogs, when it was reality plantigrade, like bears. Its coloration is believed to have been inspired by modern jackals. There are no bear dogs known from the Sandagol Formation. Entelodonts, or Entelodontidae, were a family of Psittancodontomorphans, or whale relatives. The individual in this episode is only identified as an entelodont in the series, but is commonly identified as Entelodon itself. This is unlikely, because although being known from Mongolia, Entelodon went extinct approximately 2 to 4 million years before the episode's setting, and the creature in the episode is way too big to be Entelodon. No Entelodonts are known from the Sandagol Formation. The Entelodont should have been much bulkier, with being much more hippo-like than the strange shrink-wrapped pig that it appears as in the episode. It is correctly portrayed as an omnivore, not just exclusive carnivore. It is possible that this entelodont is Paraentelodon, from the late Oligocene of much of Asia, including Mongolia. Paraentelodon is also larger than Entelodon, and is closer in size to the creature that appears in this episode. An ant nest appears in this episode. There are no ants known from the Sandagol Formation. Well, luckily there were no baby birds around.
Hello everybody and welcome to my 280 subscriber special, in which I break down the 4th episode of Walking with Beasts, Next of Kin. This episode centers on Australopithecus and is set in the Pliocene, about 3.2 million years ago, of Ethiopia, as you just saw. This is so close to modern day that it was filmed in modern day Ethiopia as well as South Africa. Australopithecus was a genus of Australopithecine hominin from the Pliocene and to Pleistocene, 4.5 to about 1.2 million years ago, of Africa. This species is Australopithecus afarensis, which lived 3.9 to 2.9 million years ago in East Africa, meaning it lived in the right place and right time to appear in this episode. It is doubtful that the small Australopithecus could scare away Calicotheres, as is shown in the episode. Unlike in Ballad of Begal, the named characters are not actually based on real fossils, and also the Australopithecus is accurately depicted as being an omnivore. A warthog appears in this episode. It is live acted by a modern warthog, Phacochirus species, and may be a member of this genus, or it may be the extinct Metridiochirus. Modern warthogs are believed to date back to the earliest Pleistocene, 2.58 million years ago, whereas Metridiochirus lived from approximately 3.4 to 1.3 million years ago, the Pliocene to Pleistocene, meaning there's more likely Metridiochirus. White rhinoceroses, Ceratotherium simum, appear. The white rhinoceros only evolved 1.8 million years ago, meaning it had not evolved in the episode's setting, although the genus Ceratotherium had, and it could be another species within this genus. Dinophilus was a metalurin machyrodontine saber-toothed cat, from the Pliocene to Pleistocene, approximately 5 to 1.2 million years ago, of Eurasia, Africa, and North America. Diphnophelus is depicted in the show as specializing in eating hominins, which was thought to be accurate at the time this was produced, but is no longer thought so. Instead, it is believed to have specialized in hunting larger ungulates. Megantherion is another Machairodontine that lived at the right time and right place, but is thought to have been more likely to have hunted hominins. Dinotherium was a Dinotherian dinotheriid, a family of basal proboscideans. It is unknown if the short trunk is accurate, as it would make it hard for the creature to drink. Dinotherium is stated to have grown up to the height of a giraffe, about 5.5 meters, but it only grew to about 4.42 meters tall. Ancylitherium was a schizotheriid calicothere from the Miocene to Pliocene, 6.5 to 1.8 million years ago, of Eurasia and Africa, meaning it lived in the right place and time to appear in this episode. It reuses the calicothere model, slightly modified, to change the colours and also to give it more, to make it so it's not walking on its knuckles, but instead walking on the flats of its feet, on its front feet. Unfortunately, this doesn't change the fact that it should have a much flatter back with less tall shoulders and shorter front legs and a longer neck. Several Old World vultures appear. This refers to several members of Geopetinae and Aegypinae. The specific species of these vultures cannot be determined, but Old World vultures did exist in that place and time. The corpse of a zebra, any member of the subgenus Equus hippotigris, appears, but zebras, although they are found almost everywhere in Africa, are not believed to have evolved until around 2 million years ago, meaning it lived in the right place, but 1.2 million years too late to appear in this episode. A jackal in Walking with Beast pass by. It appears to be a black-backed jackal, Lupulella mesomelus, which evolved 2 to 3 million years ago, meaning it potentially lived at the right time and definitely in the right place. Hello everybody, and welcome to my 400 subscriber special, in which I will be breaking down the 5th and penultimate episode of Walking with Beasts, Sabre Tooth. The episode is set 1 million years ago in Paraguay. Like the previous episode, much of the environment has not changed in the last million years, so it was filmed in nearby modern Brazil. Smilodon was a Smilodontan Machairodontine, or saber-toothed cat, from the Pleistocene to Holocene, 2.5 million to 10,000 years ago, of North and South America. The individuals in this episode are specifically Smilodon populator, which lived 1 million years ago to 10,000 years ago in East and South America, meaning it lived in the right place and time to appear in the episode. It is unlikely that Smilodon lived in social groups, and almost impossible that it would have lived in lion-like prides. If it had social structures, they would have been more likely to form something like wolf packs. The episode perpetuates the myth that saber-toothed cats invaded South America and wiped out the terror birds, but in fact, most terror birds were already extinct before the land bridge between the continents even formed. There is evidence that Smilodon teeth were relatively easily damaged, so half tooth is quite possible. Smilodon was quite bulky and is accurately portrayed as non-pursuit predator. There is no evidence of sexual dimorphism in Smilodon, unlike as portrayed in the episode, and it is possible that Smilodon had lips to cover its teeth. Terror birds, or forest rakids, were a family of Caryomyform australaves from the mid-Eocene to late Pleistocene, approximately 43 to 0.1 million years ago, of South America.
The terror bird in this episode is Forest Raucus. Forest Raucus was a Forest Raucine, the subfamily containing the largest terror birds, and it was from the early to mid-Miocene, 20 to 13 million years ago, of South America, meaning it lived in the right place to appear, but went extinct more than 10 million years before the episode's setting. Forest Raucus would not have had claws on its wings, as it was shown in the episode. It would most likely have been more bulky than is depicted in the episode. The largest size estimates for Forest Raucus give it a maximum height of almost 2.4 meters, not the 3 meters given in the series. The latest surviving terror bird was Psilopterus, which lived from the mid-Oligocene to the Pleistocene, approximately 29 to 0.1 million years ago, of Argentina and Uruguay, but is way too small to fill the role in this episode. The North American terror bird, Titanus, is also mentioned, not by name, but Titanus was also likely extinct by the episode's setting. Macrauchenia was a macraucheniid lipternan from the Pliocene to late Pleistocene of South America, living around the right place and time to appear. Macrauchenia is depicted as deer-like, but it was in reality more heavily built, like a camel, and probably couldn't run as well as is shown in the episode. It also should most likely have a shorter trunk, similar to that of a Sega antelope, or even no trunk at all, giving it a moose-like snout. Several Didicurus appear in the episode. Didicurus was a glyptodont armadillo from the Pleistocene to Holocene, 2 million years ago to 7,000 years ago, of South America, meaning it was around at the time that the episode was set and the correct location. The Didicurus is almost perfectly accurate in terms of design to the real animal, and it is shown accurately competing in interspecific combat. Megatherium was a megatherian from the early Pliocene to Holocene, 5 million years ago to 10,000 years ago, of South America, meaning it lived at the right place and right time to appear in the episode. There is no definitive evidence for Megatherium to have eaten carrion occasionally, but many modern herbivores are known to occasionally supplement their diets with meat. There is evidence of partial carnivory, or I guess omnivory, in another species of giant ground sloth, Mylodon, but it is not a very close relative of Megatherium. It is possible that some giant ground sloths, especially the larger ones, such as Megatherium, with Megatherium being the largest, would not have had fur, as they didn't need it, and it could have caused them to overheat, similar to modern elephants. Hello everybody, and welcome to my 420 subscriber special, in which I will be breaking down the final episode of Walking with Beasts, Mammoth Journey. Thank you all for getting me to 420 subscribers, and enjoy the breakdown. The episode is set 30,000 years ago, in various places across Europe, other than the epilogue of course. It is filmed in the modern Yukon of Canada, a very accurate replication of the mammoth steppe at this time period. The woolly mammoth, or Mammothus primigenius, was a species of mammoth, Mammothus elephantine elephantid, from the mid-Pleistocene to Holocene, 400 to 3.7 thousand years ago, of Europe, Russia, and Canada, meaning it lived in the right places and time to appear in the episode. Woolly mammoths' tusks did not overlap. This was only true of Columbian mammoths. The mammoths are depicted as having the same social structure as African elephants, forming groups of females led by a single matriarch, while males live independently until mating. But this structure is not found in
Asian elephants, which are closer related to mammoths. They have a similar-ish structure to their social groups, but they're not led by a single matriarch leader, instead not really having a leader to their group. Grey wolves, Canis lupus, appear. Grey wolves are known from Europe, Asia, Russia, the Middle East, and far North America, dating back to 400,000 years ago, meaning that they lived in the right place and time to appear in the episode. The name Cro-Magnon is now outdated, and the terms early modern human, anatomically modern human, or just Homo sapiens are preferred. Homo sapiens evolved around 300,000 years ago. By 30,000 years ago, they were known from Africa, the Middle East, the Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asia, the Philippines, Australia, and most importantly to us in this episode, Siberia and the Mammoth Steppe, as well as much of Europe. The actors that play the Cro-Magnons appear to be around the right ethnicity to play them. Bison appear. These would be European bison, or Bison bonesus, which evolved in the late Pleistocene, approximately 100,000 years ago, and lived in much of Europe and Asia, meaning it lived in the right place and time to appear. Saiga antelope, Saiga atarica, also appear. They evolved in the late Pleistocene as well, and were known for most of northern Eurasia, meaning that they also lived in the right place and time to appear. Megaloceros was a cervian deer from the early Pleistocene to mid-Holocene, approximately 1.2 million years ago to 7.7 thousand years ago of Eurasia, meaning it lived in the right place and time to appear. The species that appears in the episode is specifically Megaloceros giganteus, or the Irish elk, which was known for the right place and time in specific. We actually know the coloration of Megaloceros due to cave art, and the coloration in the series is almost perfect. It should probably also have a slightly thicker coat of fur, and when we first see them they have no antlers. These could all be females, or these could be males that shed their antlers, as is seen in their closest living relative, the fallow deer. Cave lions, or Pantherosphelia, are a species of big cat from the mid to late Pleistocene, 600 to 13,000 years ago, of Eurasia, Alaska, and the Yukon, meaning they lived in the right place and time to appear in the episode. Their fur should be yellowish rather than white, closer to that of a modern lion. And despite it not being a true lion, it would have had a small mane and a tuft of fur on the end of its tail, as they were actually quite closely related within the genus Panthera to modern lions. Neanderthals, or Homo neanderthalensis, were a species of early human from the mid to late Pleistocene, 430 to 40,000 years ago, meaning that they lived in the right place to appear but were not genetically distinct by the episode's setting. At the time of production, Neanderthals were thought to have been a dead end in human evolution, but more recent studies have found that they were in fact absorbed into the human genome. The actor playing the Neanderthal appears to be of the correct ethnicity. The hypothesis that Neanderthals chased mammoths off cliffs has been reassessed, and it is now thought that they would in fact hunt them from the top of the cliff and drop things like rocks on them, as is shown in Walking with Cavemen. Woolly rhinos, or Coelodonta antiquitatis, appear. They lived in the mid to late Pleistocene, approximately 70 to 14,000 years ago, of Eurasia, meaning that they lived in the right place and time to appear in the episode. They appear to be quite accurate to what we know of the species, mostly because it is based on frozen specimens we've found, and it is accurately given a square grazing lip rather than a hooked browsing lip. Spruce trees appear. Spruce is any member of the genus Picea, which dates back to the early Cretaceous, approximately 135 million years ago. Spruce are known from northern Eurasia, Canada, and Alaska, meaning that they would have been around in the right place and the right time to appear in the episode. Pigeons, Columba livia, appear in present-day England in the epilogue. And that was Mammoth Journey. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Thank you once again for getting me
to 420 subscribers, and I'll see you soon for my 440 subscriber special, which will be a breakdown of the first episode of Chased by Dinosaurs, The Giant Claw. Goodbye.